the 1931 Studebaker Giant, the world's largest car. North Korean girls sing a song about Kim Il-sung, 1950. Frida Kahlo wears a suit in a family portrait taken in 1927 when she was 19 years old. The East African maritime slave trade, early 20th century. (1984) Francis Ford Coppola and his daughter Sophia. A model showing off this West Los Angeles atomic bomb shelter at Santa Monica Boulevard, 1951. In 1922, 16-year-old Canadian Aloha Vanderbilt set off on a round-the-world trip. Pictured here is Aloha in Japan. Traveling circus performers. George Moore, known as the Living Skeleton, and Fred Howe, Fat Man, 1897. Sonora Webster Carver diving with her horse, the Duchess of Lightning, 1930s. Two fishermen knit their winter woolies, Ramsgate, Kent, England, 1940s. Sioux Indian Man, 1900s. The stop-motion Godzilla model used for a couple of scenes in King Kong vs. Godzilla 1962 was eventually given to a kid, becoming the first Godzilla action figure. David Scott comes out of the Apollo 9 to do a scan on the Earth, March of 1969. An American soldier goofing off, 1940s. A compact car. Street photographer with old camera, 1960s Italy. A child wearing a Halloween mask. Late 1965 photo of the #1 Batmobile at the Batcave, Bronson Canyon in Los Angeles. Princess Alex von Hesse, future Tsarina Alexandra Fyodorovna, on her solo photo of May 1875. A 75mm gun being raised by pulleys in the Alps during the Italian front of World War I, 1916. Milk delivery around 1910. Recycling old typewriters, Bergen, Norway, 1930s. Inside a small migrant tent camp in California, 1937. A migrant farm worker during the Great Depression with a woman believed to be his wife, resting inside the canvas shelter they called home. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill delivers a speech on board the heavy cruiser Exeter upon its return to Britain Plymouth after the Battle of La Plata, 1939. (1940) A donkey named Jacko at a New Year's party given for children evacuated from London in January 1940. The girls on the grid of the first Hungarian Formula One race, 1986, Hungaroring. Chief Wolf Robe, Southern Cheyenne, 1904. White waiting room. Out of the 750,000 who fought for the Confederacy in the Civil War, these were the last 3 alive in 1951 together. Caroline Kennedy riding Macaroni the pony on the grounds of the White House, 30 of March, 1962. Strength test. A car is tested for resistance to lightning with a 3 million volt discharge, 1942. Tilt test, England, 1933. A French light tank, the Stuart, on the streets of liberated Mulhouse, 1944. Porter carrying clay pots strapped to A-frame on his back. Hanoi residential area and Bach Mai Hospital leveled down by United States B-52 airstrikes, 1972. In this 1955 picture, inventor Russell E. Oakes shows off his automatic tip requester, which comprises an artificial hand and cash box to be worn around the waist. A no sale sign is displayed if a tip is not sufficient. Geronimo and fellow Apache Indian prisoners on their way to Pensacola by train. September, 1886. A groovy bathroom decor from the 1970s. Caroline Munro, born 16, January 1949. Windsor, Berkshire is a British model and actress who has appeared primarily in fantasy, science fiction, and horror films. The sinking Finnish steamship Margaretha, torpedoed by the German submarine U-46, 1940. German soldiers retreating through a burning Belarusian village. The photo was presumably taken in the Vitebsk region, 1944. Jewish Berber woman, Morocco, taken around the 1930s. Relatives greet a frontline soldier at Belaruski station in Moscow, 1945. Christopher Walken entertains his buddies, Bayside, Queens, 1955. Water carriers, Korea, early 20th century. Steve Irwin and his wife Terry on their wedding day in 1992. Portrait of a group of Ute Native American women, circa 1899. Two young soldiers pose for a candid photo in Austria, 1945. Annie Jones was born with a full head of facial hair and began performing in the circus as a baby. A bingo player in the hall of St. Casimir's Church, Baltimore, Maryland, 1979. Girls in miniskirts during the 1960s, a style first introduced about 60 years ago. Fashion designer Mary Quant began experimenting with shorter hemlines in the late 1950s, leading to the creation and popularization of the miniskirt in 1964. Monte Carlo residents greet French war correspondents, 1944. Models showcase designs from Simbat Fashion House against the backdrop of Alatow Hotel, 1975, Alma-Ata, Kazakh SSR. A Takar chief in Cameroon, early 20th century. Last known photo of Michael Rockefeller in 1961, pictured with a New Guinean tribe known for cannibalism. Michael disappeared without a trace during his 1961 New Guinean expedition, and his body was never found. Hippies gather at Elysian Park for a love-in, a celebration of peace and love, at Asian Park in Los Angeles, California, on March 26, 1967. Early fat bike. This is a New Jersey State police officer. He was transferred to the Women's Department specifically to train in an operation to catch bandits and maniacs operating throughout the state. 1945. Picture from the 1997 Titanic movie set. Spitak earthquake, 1988. The RCA CT100, the first colored television set for consumers, coming off the production line in Bloomington, Indiana, 1954. Priced at $1,000 during that time. Agatha Christie, Paris, 1957. Military ID card of Colonel Ernst Frey, an Austrian Jew in the ranks of the Vietnamese People's Army, 1949. Leonardo DiCaprio and his Russian grandmother from Perm Helen Indenburgen, Elena Smirnova. New York, 1953. A boy looks up in surprise. French soldier stands with German bombs during World War I. Audrey Hepburn at Paramount Studios filming Sabrina, 1954. Danny Green entering the United States Attorney's Office in Cleveland in 1964, nearly a decade before he was linked to a string of crimes and later died in a car bombing. The placing of Last Link in the Gateway Arch, 1965, in St. Louis, Missouri. The city of St. Louis is in the background. Japanese Americans at an internment camp in the Pacific Northwest, early 1940s. Priceless reaction from Hollywood legend Steve McQueen as he meets Jane Mansfield in the early 1960s. Tom Waits, 1985. Knife grinder at work, 1920s. A French soldier poses with a local girl in traditional costume, and a removed German sign naming a square in liberated Mulhouse, 1944. Miners pose with lunch pails in hand on a pile of waste rock outside of the Tamarack mine shaft, Michigan, 1905. Ngangela warriors, Angola, circa 1930s. Hedy Lamarr, 1944. An Apple II computer production line in California, 1980s. Residents of liberated Colmar greet French and American troops, 1945. Led Zeppelin, December 1968. American creations on German aircraft. Felix the cat painted on a Luftwaffe plane. Child labor. A sweeper is a cotton mill. A funeral service for the 9 unidentified victims of John Wayne Gacy at Oak Ridge Cemetery in Chicago, Illinois, June 12, 1981. Fashion from the 1969 sci-fi movie Moon 02, set in the year 2028. Heavily armed horsemen from Sudan. The armor of both men and horses is made of quilted trim, circa 1950s. Funeral procession. A horse figurine intended for burning at the grave. Korea, early 20th century. A motorcycle in the 1920s. Finnish sniper Simo Heiha with his dog Killa, 1961. Nicknamed the White Death. Protest against the Vietnam War in front of the Pentagon building, 21st of October 1967. Results of Mensur, a traditional strictly regulated saber fight between 2 male members from different student fraternities, usually in Germany. Betty Grable and Marilyn Monroe on the set of How to Marry a Millionaire in 1957. United States Army Air Forces. Curtiss P-40, Warhawk serial number 39-280, Army Air Force Training Command, Foster Field, Texas, circa 1942. A girl kisses a French officer from the troops liberating Marseille, 1944. (1920s) Flapper dances on the piano of Benny Kruger's jazz band on Brighton Beach, United Kingdom. Punk movement, 1970s. Ozzy Osbourne and Frank Zappa, 1974. Lieutenant N.K. Kuliev, near a German Bf-110 fighter shot down near Moscow, 1941. Delta Airlines ad, 1973. This ad wouldn't fly today. Rescuers rescue children in a boat during a flood in Belarus, David Gorodok Village, Gorin River, 1979. Red Army soldiers and commanders inspect the national flag of Nazi Germany, captured in the Vitebsk region of Belarus, 1944. Tashkent earthquake 1966. At the time unknown, Marilyn Monroe posing with other 7 more models and bit part actress, 9 of October 1949. Police and Firemen's Day display of a gangster's car riddled by Thompson machine guns for 10 seconds on September 24, 1930. Ernest Hemingway and Fidel Castro, 1960. Sahrawi soldiers of the Polisario Front, Western Sahara, May 1976. Palestinian woman in Bethlehem, 1889. Paul McCartney, early 1960s. A boy and a turtle eat a watermelon at the Bronx Zoo, 1925. FDR visits Mount Rushmore to dedicate the Jefferson sculpture. He was already in the region on a tour of the Great Plains states hard hit by the 1930s drought. Portrait of a Family, Florida, circa 1900. Single-parent Ermeline Indenberken and Leo DiCaprio pose for a portrait in their home, Los Angeles, California, 1975. Portrait of a Red Army Guard soldier, Alexandra Kudyakova, a machine gunner in the Machine Gun Company, 1943. Senator John McCain regained his freedom after spending over 5 years as a POW in Vietnam. Here he's escorted to Hanoi's Gia Lam Airport after the release, 1973. Thousands of mourners flocked to the statue of North Korean founder Kim Il-sung after his death was announced, 1994. Youngsters proudly showing their boomboxes, Manhattan, 1980s. A creepy photo of a girl in a wedding dress. Fun times at the beach with the girls. A Disney animator copies his character's facial expression by drawing it. World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. Red Army soldier Mologolov, commander of a reconnaissance platoon with his prostrate horse, 1944. Carrying the wine home for mom and dad, Rome, 1952. Soviet Typhoon-class submarine under construction, 1970. The face of a fallen empire, Nuremberg, 1946.